Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License Lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this, they lob it to him, he taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3, he's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser I'm Steve Risser along with Justin D'Onofrio. And the Rangers are one win away from their first World Series win in franchise history. They lead the Diamondbacks 3-1 last night. They went 11-7. They went up 11. They went up 11, I think it was 10-0. They ended up hanging on to win. They were up 11-1 in the 8th. Then they ended up hanging on to win 11-7. And the big question is here for the Rangers is what do they have to do to win their first World Series? And for me, to start off, I think Seager just has to stay hot. Right now, he's clearly the MVP. What he did in Game 1, hitting that 2-run homer to tie the game. Then he hits a big 2-run homer to put the Rangers up 3-0 in Game 2, in Game 3. Then he hits another home run to put them up 5-0 in Game 3. So right now, Corey Seager has been excellent. Sermian was excellent last night. Hit that big 3-run homer, put the Rangers up 10-0. He had 5 RBIs. So if those two guys keep hitting, and they have to keep hitting because Garcia's out for the rest of the series. If those guys keep hitting, the Rangers will end up winning their first World Series. Number 2, Eovaldi's got to have a bounce-back start. He wasn't great in Game 1. He's got to have a bounce-back start. He's got to pitch like he's pitched all postseason, not in Game 1 of the series. And then number 3, their bullpen, the back end of that bullpen just got to keep pitching the way they have. The back end keeps pitching the way they do. I see the Rangers winning their first World Series title.
Yeah, I got I'm gonna start off with your last point there with the bullpen. Yeah, they got to last night got a little dicey there. I know they still won by 4, but got to close out these late innings. They got to be able to close these games out. Bullpen needs to be strong again here tonight. And then my second one, same as yours with Nathan Eovaldi. He's been awesome this whole postseason. Got roughed up there in Game 1. And he needs a bounce back effort tonight. And, and if he can go out there, throw, strong, 6-7 innings, the Rangers should be in great shape to win this baseball game and move on to the World Series. And my last one too is, just finishing this series tonight. They're 10 on the road this postseason, and you don't want to give them life because we did see the Phillies did do that.
Yep, and exactly. So with the Phillies, they lost. They were up 2-0. They lost 2 straight. And then they won. Then Arizona. They won win Game 5, but then Arizona won those 2 in Philadelphia. Arizona has not back down all year long. Torey Lovullo even said that after the game. He's still confident his team's he could bounce back and win this series.
Yeah, because the Rangers haven't been great at home, and Merrill Kelly would go game 6, and he's been
Merrill
Kelly's
been their best pitcher. Merrill Kelly's been their best pitcher all postseason.
Yeah, so you don't want to get in a situation there where now you kind of, if we're at game 6, it's like, okay, we got to kind of close them out now. So, so for the Rangers tonight, just don't give them any life. Finish this thing off tonight and, move on to celebration.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Rangers, you definitely want to get it done tonight. You don't want to give this D-backs team life, because that's what the Phillies did. Phillies gave them life, and the Diamondbacks took full advantage of that and got to the World Series. So, definitely close it out tonight. Now, for the Diamondbacks to come back in the series, number one, Gallen hasn't pitched well all postseason. He's got to do it tonight. He's been their best pitcher all season, but he hasn't pitched well in the postseason. Zach Gallen has got to get the job done tonight. He's got to. He's at home. He's facing elimination. He has to get it done tonight. That's the big thing. If he pitches poorly again, obviously, because starting pitching is so important, this series will definitely be over. Number two, they got to carry what they did last night into tonight. They almost came back last night. They got to carry that momentum into tonight. Torey Lovullo, again, in his press conference, he was confident that his team can do that. They got to do it. They obviously do, because if they don't, the series will be over. And then number three, if they somehow get the lead, they've been great all postseason, but this series should be tied 2-2, because they should have won game 1 at home. Yeah. They had game 1 won. And they didn't close it out. Seawald has been great all postseason, but he didn't close it out. If they get any kind of lead, they obviously got to close it out. So, Gallen, Bat's got to keep the momentum going, and the bullpen's got to get the job done. That's the way the Diamondbacks get back into the series and come back and win the series. Yeah,
for me, it's tonight starting off. It's kind of like your last point there is like getting the lead tonight, just to get some confidence, kind of trying to just maybe that helps Gallen kind of settle in this game. Just kind of jumping out to an early lead tonight, I think would be huge, kind of confidence wise, and keeping that keeping that place kind of engaged tonight instead of kind of that nervous kind of energy. So I think for Arizona, it's important to kind of try to get up early tonight, score a couple. Number 2 as well as Zach Gallen. Yeah, his ERA is over 5 this postseason. Outside, he has not been great, and he's a guy that's been awesome all year. He's been better at home than he's been on the road. He's got to shut down this Ranger lineup tonight. He's got to pitch well. He's got to give his team a chance to win this baseball game, and hopefully kind of get them on a plane to Texas for 2 more games for their sake. So that's another one. That Gallen's got to pitch well, and then also too with Gallen, your bullpen got hammered too last night. You kind of got to go a little bit deeper. I know Nelson helped out that he did go 5 innings, but helped to kind of give some of those bullpen guys maybe a night off if you could, or not have to use as many. And then finally is the bullpen in Seawall. They got to close out. They got the lead tonight. That Rangers lineup's dangerous, but late in this game, if you can, you got to kind of find a way to shut it down. I know Kinkel's only pitching 1 game in the series. He's a guy, maybe you try to get 2 innings out of him tonight, something like that. That'd be kind of huge for Arizona. They're up late in this one. They got to find a way for some of those bullpen guys to close it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, they definitely do. And they've had a great year. I mean, we've counted them out a lot, especially on this show. We counted them out against the Phillies, and it's tough to count them out. And I actually do think they win tonight. I do think they win tonight at home, but I do think the Rangers, like I predicted earlier, Rangers in 6. I do think the Rangers close it out Friday night. I don't think they close it out tonight. I think they close it out Friday night. Justin, does this series go to Friday, or do the Rangers close it out tonight?
I had Rangers in 6 with you, but I'm going 5 now. I think Eovaldi and this Rangers team shut it down tonight. I'm not that confident right now in Gallen. I got, and I'm pretty confident in Nathan Eovaldi that he's going to have a bounce back effort and he's going to pitch pretty well tonight. And Gallen, I want to hope for the sake of the series that he will, and he'll move it to Friday. But I'm not that confident in him right now. And that Ranger lineup right now, even without Garcia, they got still a ton of talent in those bats. And I think the Rangers find a way tonight to close it out. They've been so good on the road. 10-0. I think they moved 11-0. It's insane what they've done on the road because they haven't played great at home this postseason.
It's definitely been insane, and it is important for them to close it out tonight because if they somehow get to a game 7, it's going to be by committee. It's going to be a bullpen game like the Diamondbacks had last night. It's going to be a bullpen game against Fott if they go to game 7, and they're not going to have Garcia for the rest of the series. So you got to strike when the iron's hot. I think it is very important for the Rangers to win tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. The unfortunate stuff with Scherzer, you're not going to have in game 7, and with Merrill Kelly the way he's been. Because then it's all the pressure kind of comes on you. You lose game 6. Now it's all on you to not blow the series. So, absolutely. You got to finish this thing off while you can. And, you mentioned, too, the Arizona, you can't really count them out. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do win the next series. I just think the Rangers, I think, kind of end this storybook that the D-backs have had. And, it's been an awesome run. I think it's great. It's the young core they got. But, I think it runs out. I think the magic runs out tonight for Arizona, but it's been an awesome story. I know ratings haven't been great, but it's good for this young Arizona team to for the casuals, to kind of see Corbin Carroll. He's an absolute stud, and that's why I got a 13-year contract before he even stepped on a diamond for, something besides spring training game.
Absolutely, definitely is a stud. Now, you did bring up the ratings, and the ratings are not good. And that leads me to this question. Have the new rules helped baseball? Before the World Series, I thought they definitely did because they got the Game 7 of the ALCS got great ratings. It outrated Monday Night Football. But you've seen these World Series ratings, and they have not been good. And I felt, as somebody who was a pitch clock guy and a fan of the new rules, I have to watch the World Series. I got to be consistent. If I like the new rules, I have to pay attention to the World Series. These new rules were to get casuals into the game and increase ratings in these games. And they haven't increased them in the World Series. So these anti-pitch clock people do kind of have a point with I know the markets are bad. I get it. The Arizona does not draw. Texas and Arizona are not draws nationally. I get it. But if you're going to change rules to improve viewership should improve in the World Series. And it hasn't. So I honestly don't think the anti-pitch clock people are crazy I could see where they're coming from. So I could see if they want to complain, I still think they could complain seeing the ratings for this World Series.
Yeah, I can see it. I think it's the markets. I would like to see if this was at the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets, a big market team was involved, what these ratings are. Because I think it's tough for somebody that's not a baseball fan to okay, even with the pitch clock rules, I feel like if you're not really into baseball, you still know the Bryce Harpers of the world. You know the Jose Altuves. It's if you're not really big into it, you probably don't know a Corbin Carroll name. There's not many stars that you really recognize. And I feel like that's what's kind of hurting. If next year, if this thing is let's say Dodgers, Houston, and if it's low, then maybe the rules won't affect anything. But I could see where, maybe it's not, people aren't tuning in, where, maybe the anti-pitch clock people have a point, but I like to see it with a couple big markets. And and that's kind of how I would want to see it first, but it's not great, but to
me, it's a very tough question because before the World Series, I thought it really did. I thought Manfred did a great job changing the rules, but the issue is the viewership's so low for the World Series, and you made these new rules to increase viewership. And listen, I've been a fan of the new rules. I've been an advocate for the new rules, but they haven't increased viewership in your biggest event of the season. That's why I still think it's tough to answer this question. It's a very tough question to answer because it didn't improve viewership for your biggest event. So that's why, it will be interesting to see what happens next year. See if we do get two big markets in the World Series to see what happens. But this year, I think it worked all year. But in the World Series, it didn't increase viewership. That's where I still think the people who didn't like it still have a say.
Yeah, I can see that. And I know attendance this year for baseball, I remember all year was it's one of the best years they've had in a while. So I do think the new rules are helping. I just do think it's because it's Arizona and Texas. I just think that's what's really hurting it.
Yeah.
And I just think because there's no real big marketable stars that's the thing. If you're not into baseball.
People love stars. People love stars, and they're really. Adolis Garcia, but if you're not a huge baseball fan, you don't know who Adolis Garcia is, but you know who Jose Altuve is. You know who Bryce Harper is. You know who the Astros are because of the cheating scandal. Mm-hmm. You know who Bryce Harper is. So if you get Phillies Astros, the ratings. What would have been interesting is if we got a rematch to see what the ratings were last year compared to this year. So it is very, very hard to tell if the new rules help. I think we're probably going to get a clear answer to that question next year.
Yeah,
I don't think you definitely can say they have or they haven't because the ratings in the postseason were pretty good, but the ratings in the World Series weren't. So I think we'll get a better answer to this question next year.
Yeah, because I don't 100% remember, but I think Game 7 for Arizona, Philly got over 9 million. I want to say, which was pretty good. Yeah. So I think if you got the Phillies in there and the Stars, I think the ratings would definitely better. So yeah, I think next year is going to be a better indication for this. Cause you get a couple of big stars, you get a couple of big markets. I think things definitely change. Yeah, it would have been cool to see kind of compare last year to this year if it was Phillies Astros and kind of see. But yeah, I do think it has helped baseball. You look at the attendance numbers, they've looked good this year. I think the time of play, I see people have seen the time of play. And I know everybody was worried, the dramatic 3-2 bases loaded. I think even with 18 seconds, you're getting enough time in there where you're kind of,
you are.
Yeah. So I think it's been working, but yeah, I think maybe we need another year to kind of see and to kind of, get another World Series matchup in there with two kind of, I don't know disrespect to Texas and Arizona, but yes, it's just not a lot of people know if you're not in the baseball. So most of these rosters are. That's I think it's the issue.
Exactly. So, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. We brought this question up. This will be probably the last time we'll talk baseball in a while because the World Series will be over at the latest Saturday. It could be over tonight, but at the latest it'll be over by Saturday. So it'll probably be the last time we'll talk baseball in a while. So we definitely wanted to get this question in. So, yeah, I think we'll get a clear answer to it next year. I think next year we'll get a clear answer if these new rules – and I give Ron Manfred a ton of credit for trying to evolve. You got to give Manfred credit for that. That shows you he's a better commissioner than Gary Bettman because he tried to change something – he tried to make the sport better. So I do give Rob Manfred credit, but we'll give a clear answer to this question next year.
Yeah, Manfred, a lot of people been critical of him, and very fairly, he should be criticized for a lot of things. But yeah, he finally made a couple of good implements into the sport, and yeah, I know some of the pitchers have complained, but I don't think it's really changed that much. A lot of these guys now have been so used to it coming up from the minor leagues. I think it's going to be, especially too now we don't have the World Baseball Classic next year either. I think that kind of affected some things early in spring training for some of the guys that went over there. So yeah, I think, Manfred finally did a good thing for baseball. I think it will be good in the long run. It's just kind of the unfortunate circumstances like hockey had, Vegas Panthers in the NHL this year. I just think it's unfortunate the markets.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in hockey and baseball because of these low-scoring games. You're more prone to the upsets.
Hockey and baseball, I think, need the markets because the stars don't make as big of an impact on the game. So I think hockey and baseball need the markets more than the NBA and the NFL because if you could have a superstar in a low market and you're like in Milwaukee, you could have even if Milwaukee gets the NBA Finals, you still have Giannis and Dame Lillard. So and even if Phoenix gets the NBA Finals, you still have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So yeah, I think the lack of star power in the series has definitely hurt the ratings.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's definitely had a big effect on it, and yeah, it stinks for the sport and baseball, and you're kind of hoping that ratings will be better. But yeah, the NFL, NBA, NFL, you're always kind of going to watch because you kind of figure those teams, the best teams are usually be in those sports, and baseball, hockey, they're just more prone and to kind of the upsets, and there's not the big marketable stars and. That's the thing. Again, you get the Dodgers next year. If Joey Ohtani goes to LA or to the Dodgers, that those ratings will be unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
you can market him. So
absolutely.
So that's what hurt baseball and hockey. And you could ever get Connor McDavid and Edmonton to a Stanley Cup. I think it'd be great for the NHL. But,
absolutely. Without question.
It's tough in those sports.
Yep, without question. So now we will shift over to the NBA, and yesterday James Harden was traded to the Clippers. He finally got his wish. We asked the question on Fridays: is he's going to be off the Sixers? He is off the Sixers. The Sixers got him off the roster, and they got a couple draft picks, future first round picks for him. But the big question is who won the trade here? And I still think it's the Clippers because I don't love what the Sixers got back in this deal. I don't think the Sixers got anyone really that good back in this deal. So I do like the Clippers because if the Clippers are healthy, that's a big if with Paul George and Kawhi. But if the Clippers are healthy with him, Westbrook, and Harden, with Kawhi, Westbrook, PG, and Harden, they could surprise some people.
Yeah, they could. I'm going with Philly that win this one because you just got to cancel off your roster. That's all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This guy's been awful, and I think what was the thing that kind of set this trade or really got things done. I don't know if you saw the other night when Westbrook airballed that game winner the other night, and you could see I think it was Kawhi. He just fell to his knees, just on the ground. Like
what the heck? What's going on?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That can't happen.
Yeah, that's Russell Westbrook for you. So if you tell me those four are healthy, but if James Harden's happy there, great. He's not gonna cause any problems, but he's caused a problem everywhere he's been. And I don't think things are, I think at some point he'll probably complain his way out of LA because that's all he does. And again, I get it. It's LA. You're trying to get these, Paul George and Kawhi trying to get somewhere. And, I know this owner's trying to get to the finals, but I don't like James Harden and Russell Westbrook being the backcourt together. I know they've done it before, but I don't know. I just think they both want iso ball, and there's only one basketball.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see. And the big question is, are the Clippers title contenders with this team? And I actually do think so if everyone stays healthy, but that's just such a big if. It's such a big if because Kawhi and Paul George have had such issues staying healthy ever since they put this thing together. So if everyone stays healthy, yes, but it's still a big if, and they're definitely not the favorites.
Yeah, they're definitely not the favorites. Yeah, if you tell me that they're healthy in April and May in the playoffs, then sure, like Kawhi almost carried them to the series winning Phoenix last year.
Yeah, yep.
So I think Leonard could do it, but yeah, that's just the thing. Like I think this team has the talent. I just I don't know if Paul George and Kawhi would be healthy in the playoffs, and that's kind of where I'm like, then Kawhi could only carry you so much, especially in this Western Conference where usually most of these teams have a second star, and Kawhi, it's tough to do it in night out if a couple of the other guys are hurt because James Harden didn't score a point in game 5, 6, or 7 against the Celtics last year in that series. Can you really rely on them either if those two guys are hurt?
God, if those guys are hurt, if one of those two guys are hurt, they got no chance.
No, so that's the thing. And I can't rely on James Harden to come up in a big spot. So again, they can be, but I can't trust these guys are healthy, unfortunately.
No, you definitely can't trust them. Now, where would you put the Clippers in the Western Conference? I would go 6th. I think they're the 6th best team. I'll obviously take the Nuggets. Then I would still take the Suns, even though they're 2-2. They just haven't been healthy. I'll still take the Lakers with LeBron and AD. I'll still take the Warriors the way Steph Curry's been playing, and I'll take the Mavs the way Luka's been playing. Luka's the 3rd best player in the league behind Jokic and Giannis. So I would take them 6th. In a deep Western Conference, I would say they are the 6th best team in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I'm with you there at 6. Yeah, I think those, 5 or 6 right there at the Mavs. I'm still, Luka's been unbelievable. I still got I don't know, Kyrie's still not there.
Kyrie's riding his coattails so far.
Oh, yeah, so far. We'll see how long that lasts. And, I think, 5, 6 right there. I think they're perfectly slotted right there. Can they be the best? You tell me Paul George and Kawhi could play like 70 games, then I could see them end up with a 1 seed, but I just don't think that's going to happen. So if they're in that like 5 spot, they'll be a tough out for that 1 seed if they get in the semis. But I'd slot them right there, right around that 5, 6 spot.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had some controversy at the top of the college football playoff rankings. But before we talk about that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
So we had the first edition of the college football playoff rankings last night, and there definitely was some controversy at the top with Ohio State, with Kyle McCord as their starting quarterback being the number one team in the country. And I know why the committee did it. They went resume over. You cannot tell me you went eye test over resume. You definitely went resume over eye test because Ohio State obviously had the two best wins against Penn State and Notre Dame. But let's be honest, Notre Dame's definitely not a Penn State. Notre Dame is definitely not a playoff team. And Penn State, look at them last week, they're not a playoff team either. So, yes, they beat two top 15 teams, but they beat two teams that are more likely not going to be playoff teams. So, I know their resume, they have the best resume out of Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and Washington. But in my opinion, I think they're the worst team. So the question is, should Ohio State be number one? And I'm like, absolutely not. Not with Kyle McCord as the starting quarterback. Every quarterback on all the other four undefeated teams is clearly better. Carson Beck is better than Kyle McCord. J.J. McCarthy is better than Kyle McCord. And the other two, we don't even need to tell you, with Jordan Travis and Michael Penix. They're all better than Kyle McCord. I'd argue Ohio State is not one of the top five teams in the country. My top five, I'll go, obviously, Georgia's got to be one. Two-time defending national champions, and they're undefeated. I don't care who they played so far. They played who's on their schedule, and they're 8-0. And they crushed Florida this week in a rivalry game. So I got them number one. Number two, I'm going to go with Michigan. Michigan's been dominant all year. They have the closest game was the Rutgers game, and they won that game 31-7. So I'm going Michigan number two. Number three, their best team, I'm going to go Washington. They're in the best conference in college football, and they're undefeated. So I know, but I know they have a really rough schedule coming up with three ranked teams with at USC, Utah, and at Oregon State. So it's going to get rough for Washington, and then we'll see what they're made of in the next couple of weeks. Then I'm going with to be honest, I'm going with Oregon. Oregon should have beaten Washington if it wasn't for some bad coaching moves by Dan Lanning. They would have beaten Washington. And then number five, I'm going with Florida State. Ohio State is number one, and to me, they're not even a top five team in the country.
Let me tell you the best part of Ohio State sitting at one right now too. I know you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Ohio State if Ohio State's undefeated going to Michigan, they lose by a touchdown. Ohio State's in the playoffs. They're not.
That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous if they get into the playoff if they lose to Michigan. There is no way they belong in the playoff if they lose to Michigan at all. I don't care how that game goes. Kyle McCord is one of the worst quarterbacks Ohio State has had in years. So there is no way Ohio State should get into the playoff if they lose to Michigan.
They probably shouldn't the way the eye test looks. But if you look at all their numbers defensively, their yards given up or yards per play given up, yards per play, that's why they're number one, because their resume, the numbers, that's why they're one. Like, I agree with you. They're not. I pretty much agree with your top five. I actually have Oregon ahead of Washington. I don't like the way Washington played the last couple of weeks.
Really?
Like, I got Oregon ahead of them.
Yeah, so that'd
Oregon's
be interesting if
dangerous.
they rematch for the Pac-12 title game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because McCord's not great. They got Marvin Harrison, who's just could do whenever you need him. He'll make a big play for you. But yeah, like if resume wise, in the way they did it, then they're they should be number one. But the eye test wise, yes, their defense is elite. But yes, Kyle McCord right now is not good, and they probably have another quarterback coming in next year, or they need to use the portal and go grab somebody. So yeah, like I'm okay with it. Like I think you could have, like Michigan, Georgia, you could have fought for. Florida State, Washington, or Florida State, I guess you could have fought a little bit for, but Michigan, Georgia were there too. Like because I think for this, I think it's good for but like now they have to base resume every week. Now I don't want to see next week be based off eye test. That's my concern. Is
you want consistency from the committee?
Yes, which I never get, but I'm gonna ask for it again this year. Because I'm happy they didn't slot two SEC. Texas A&M and Kentucky at 5-3 at 24-25. I was ready for see that coming last night. But so that's a step in the right direction. But yeah, I'm like resume wise, I'm okay with Ohio State sitting there at 1. I get it, eye test. If you're telling me eye test, then they're not number 1. But resume wise, yes, Michigan State and Georgia have been absolutely destroying everybody. Georgia's kind of getting in that form now, especially without Brock Bowers, and Michigan and. I like how they say it doesn't matter. They're not worried about the Michigan Sandal, and I don't think because it's like what evidence can tell us this year that like they're really using it? Like even if they're they'd be killing all these teams even if they weren't cheating. Like so I don't think it's had an effect at all yet this year. But I'm okay right now with Ohio State 1. But I get why you're against it, and I totally see why. But resume wise, and I told you that we're talking Saturday night, like they're gonna probably be 1 because of the resume.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that because their wins over Penn State and Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a big reason why they're sitting there number 1. And if you're going by that, they should be.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see what the committee does next week. It should be very interesting to see what the committee does next week. But I don't think they're really gonna change anything because the week they'll probably change something is if Georgia blows out Ole Miss. Because I don't think if they blow out Missouri, they're really gonna change anything. If they blow out Ole Miss, then I think they're gonna flip them.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, next couple of weeks, or like if Michigan goes into Penn State and wins by like 3 scores, and I could see Michigan leaping. So yeah, like I think Ohio State, because they don't have another big game until they face Michigan. Like I could see them kind of creeping back a little bit these next couple of weeks with Georgia's schedule coming up, and yeah, because they'll have Ole Miss coming up in a couple of weeks there, at home. But yeah, I think right now, So, yeah, like, and I think Ohio State, that's kind of why I think Ohio State's going to be there if they lose a 1-score game to Michigan. I think they'll be the 4 seed in the college football playoff.
Wow, you really think that's going to happen? Yeah. I will be so upset. If they get in over like a 1-loss, Pac-12 team, or even a team, even say like Texas or Oklahoma wins the Big 12 and they get in over them, that would be absolutely ridiculous with the way the quarterback play is on that team, with the way and they very easily could have lost to Notre Dame. They were lucky to beat Notre Dame, and then Penn State. They beat Penn State, but Penn State's at 7-1. They're not that good. Penn State's had a very easy schedule. They're not. Penn State's not that good. They finally threw the ball down the field last week.
Yeah, that was nice.
At the end of the game because they had to, but Penn State's not that good. They almost lost to Indiana last week. So yeah, I am not in agreement with Ohio State being number 1.
No, and I get it. Yeah, the eye test, no, like they should not, and I think too, they've been really banged up and they're starting to get a little bit healthier. But yeah, like, I totally understand it. Like, yeah, this is right now, eye test wise, they're absolutely not the best team at the moment. Yeah, they probably should have lost that Notre Dame game. Notre Dame had 11 guys on the field. And that Penn State game, again, if that holding call is not on, Penn State that scoop and score. Yeah, that's a totally different game. There. So
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm with you. Like right now, they're probably not the best on the eye test wise, but they're sitting there now. And, that's the thing. And the thing is too, I don't think Oklahoma and Texas are both going to be, I think both of them are going to lose. I feel more confident about Oklahoma losing out than Texas.
Because they have big games.
Be careful.
They have big games this week too.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
So they better. So that's why I think if those two Big 12 teams kind of lose, that's where Ohio State kind of fits in there. I could see them getting in maybe over undefeated Florida State. I don't know if that will happen, but
I will be so upset if they get in over an undefeated Florida State, who's a really good team. I know they play in a bad conference, but that's a team on opening night that blew that in the second half destroyed LSU.
Yeah,
who's a good team too.
Yeah, no, they are. And I think Florida State should be in if that's the case.
Who has one of the best receivers in the country.
Oh, yeah.
And they got a really good quarterback, too.
Yeah.
Better quarterback, much better quarterback than what Ohio State has.
Yeah, absolutely. And Travis been banged up, too, and he's still going out there playing pretty well. So, yeah, because the thing Florida State is, man, the way the ACC's kind of blown up the last couple of weeks, it is not in their favor right now. So that's where I were, where they're going to get like Louisville's still sitting there at 13, but, it's not a great team. They've had a really easy schedule, and they got lucky to play Notre Dame when they did. So I wouldn't agree with Ohio State seeks in there, but and the Pac-12 carnage, Ohio State's sitting really, really pretty right now. Like if you're an Ohio State fan, you got to be loving the spot you're in right now.
Oh, of course, with the quarterback you have, absolutely. So now we are going to go to the slate of games this week, and we got a rematch of last year. LSU beat Bama. Ruined their college football. Ruined their. If they don't win that game at Bama's playing Georgia in that semifinal, and no, they're playing Georgia definitely playing Georgia in the SEC title game last year. So a huge game in the SEC West. To me, winner of this game, because Ole Miss plays Georgia next week. The winner of this game pretty much controls their own destiny in the SEC West. And I think this is a close competitive game, but I'm going to go with the home team here. I think Bama gets revenge. I think they run the ball well. I think Milroy doesn't make mistakes, and I do think this Bama defense forces Jaden Daniels to make a mistake, and that's why I'm taking Bama to win this game. I got Bama winning this 28-24, but Justin, can LSU beat Bama for the second year in a row?
I don't think they will. I got Bama in this one 38-34. Jaden Daniels will be the first quarterback since Drew Brees did it back in 1999 and 2000 that beat Nick Saban consecutive years in the regular season. So that's when Nick was still at Michigan State. And Drew Brees is up at Purdue. So I think the revenge angle here, Jalen Milroe, I think, he's completing like 60% of his passes, 20 yards long, 20 yards down the field or more. He's been really good in that area. And LSU secondary is very banged up right now. It does not sound good. And I think Jalen Milroe will be able to expose that. And LSU's right tackle, Emory Jones, I think he's already ruled out. And you're going to have to start a rookie right tackle in Tuscaloosa on a Saturday night, which I think is going to be a tough assignment there. And with Daniels too, I worry because, man, the way he does not protect himself in the open field on the run. Like I could see an Alabama guy just coming and clocking him, and then you got a Nessmeyer, who's not bad, but like Daniels has been very lucky at times this year to get up after a couple of his hits. But then finally too, like I think LSU, like everybody's gotten pressure on Alabama. I think this is kind of the game where Harold Perkins the last couple of weeks been playing better. But he hasn't had that breakout game yet this year, like we saw at the end of last year. I think Saturday night could be that game for him. But Tuscaloosa, Saturday night, Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think after both teams off the bye here, I think the revenge angle at home. I got to take Bama to knock off LSU.
We got a Pac-12 matchup in LA, and USC survived last week against Cal. Washington survived against Stanford. I think this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a typical USC game, back and forth, both teams scoring. But in the end, I'm going to take the better team, the more well-rounded team, and I'm going to go with the Huskies here. I got Washington winning 42-38. But Justin, can USC keep their very, very slim playoff hopes alive?
No, I got the Huskies 48-42. I'm surprised you're picking against your boy Lincoln this week.
I know. He's let me down too much this year.
Oh yeah, they should have lost last week. They got so lucky last week. I am worried about Washington. They are very banged up on, especially defensively. Kellen DeBoer before the year is kind of saying his one concern is depth defensively, and obviously you're going up against a guy like Caleb Williams, where that is an issue. But USC's defense is not much better, and I think Penix is banged up too. Like he hasn't looked great the last couple of weeks. I think you saw him that Oregon game. He took a couple of big shots and he got up kind of gingerly. So, but I think this is a game where it comes down to whoever's got the ball last. And again, Washington's a team that's knocking out physical you. Like, this will be in USC's advantage, but I can't take Lincoln Riley. Even USC being at home, Washington's kind of last 2 weeks, maybe a wake-up call for Washington that, hey, we got to kind of get back on track here. And I think Washington is a little bit better defensively, not much, but I think just enough where they do knock off the Trojans this weekend.
Big game in the Big 12. Kansas State travels to Austin to face Texas. And I think this is a close competitive game. We don't know if Quinn Ewers is going to play, but I think the difference in this game is going to be the skill guys, Brooks and Worthy, that Texas have. I think they win a close one over Will Howard and Kansas State. Even though Kansas State is playing better, I think they win a close one over Will Howard and Kansas State. But Justin, can Kansas State keep their hopes of winning the Pac-12 to win? Can Kansas State keep their hopes of winning back-to-back Pac-12 titles alive, and can they end Texas this season?
I don't think so. I got the Longhorns 34-27. I think this is such a huge game for Steve Sarkisian to win. You go to Alabama, you actually knock them off, and now you lose 2 games in the Big 12. Like, that'd be a very disappointing season.
Yeah.
It'd be bad. I know your starting quarterback's out, but you got to beat this Kansas State team who's not very good in the secondary. Malik Murphy was not great, but he's a dual threat guy. And Texas they didn't show, and they didn't let him leave the pocket at all. Like, they were very vanilla with their offense last week. I didn't like him. He threw a couple balls off balance, off his back foot. Like, he wasn't great. I think this week they're going to be more innovative with him. And for Kansas State, Will Howard's been the quarterback mostly, but they've been bringing in this kind of wildcat guy, Avery Johnson, who's a top 100 recruit last year, local kid. Colin Klein's the OC there, and this guy, and if you remember Colin Klein, he was I
remember him. Oh yeah,
like, great runner. They've been putting some good packages in there for, Avery Johnson's such a great runner. I could see that, but problem is Texas is so good up front where they've been good stopping the run. And I think in this one, Texas just has a little bit more talent, and they kind of expose Kansas State secondary. That's the weakest part of their defense.
Got an SEC matchup in Oxford as A&M plays Ole Miss. And I think A&M stays in it early, but I just don't think they have the offensive firepower to keep up with Ole Miss with Junkins and Dart. I got Ole Miss winning this game going into the Georgia game as a top 10 team. I got Ole Miss winning 31-20. But Justin, can Jimbo end Ole Miss's playoff hopes?
I could see it because Lane Kiffin, is already scripting plays for Georgia next week, knowing Lane. That's already on his mind.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me in this game. A&M, they haven't been great. Jimbo, it sounds like they got the money to buy out Jimbo. It's just, do they want to pull the trigger or not? So we'll see. If you're an A&M fan, I think probably someone will want to lose this game and hope big. But I am going to take Ole Miss, even though I'm not confident in it. I think Jackson Dart plays well. I think Ole Miss gets the ground game going well enough in this one. And I think Ole Miss defense gets after Johnson, A&M starting quarterback in this one. And I just don't think A&M's offense will, as you mentioned, won't be able to keep up in this one. I got the Rebels in this one, 34-27.
We got another SEC matchup. We got Missouri taking on Georgia. And I think Georgia wins this game by 3 touchdowns. Missouri's had a really good year, but I just don't think they're good enough to compete with a team like Georgia. I think Brady Cook throws a couple interceptions. I think Carson Beck throws a couple touchdown passes. I think this game's a blowout win for Georgia. I think they win it 38-17. But, Justin, is there any chance Missouri can win this game and take total control of the SEC East?
Yeah, they almost did last year. They had them on the ropes. And I
remember that game last year, yeah.
Yeah. They really could have lost the last kind of few minutes. They escaped Columbia, but I got same score as you, 38-17. This is kind of a sandwich game for Georgia. You just come off the big blowout win against Florida. You got Ole Miss coming next week. But I think the thing is Kirby's going to have this team attention like, hey, these guys almost had us beat last year. Like, I don't think Georgia's going to let that happen this year. Carson Beck played really well last week. They spread the ball around, and one of the guys that had a big day was Dominic Lovett, the former Missouri Tiger. I think he could have a big game against his former teammates because Missouri's secondary isn't great. I think Beck's going to make some plays. And Georgia's running game starting to get it going a little bit. I think they'll have success in this one. And Brady Cook in this offense, they've been really good, but they really have not faced a secondary like Georgia has. Luthen Burden, Theo Wees, they've been outstanding, but I think Georgia's secondary is going to shut them down. I think Cook makes a couple bad throws in this one. And again, Missouri's their toughest place they've been so far on the road is Kentucky, which good environment, but now you're going down to Georgia Saturday afternoon. I think Missouri's gonna have some issues in this one, and I see them struggling to kind of keep up in this one. I got Georgia by 3 scores as well.
We got the Bedlam game in Stillwater this week as Oklahoma faces Oklahoma State. And I think this is going to be a competitive game between these two teams. I think it's going to be a close game. But in this game, I'm going with Oklahoma. I'm going with Oklahoma by 10. I think Oklahoma State stays in early, but I just don't think Oklahoma State has the passing game to keep up with Dylan Brooks in Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma bounces back this week and beats Oklahoma State 27-17. But Justin, can the Oklahoma State Cowboys, hand the Sooners their second straight loss?
Yeah, I'm going with the Pokes. I got.
Oh, you're going with Gundy. What did you say?
Yep. I'm going Gundy. The Oklahoma's at home. This is it for Bedlam. Mike Gundy's got no desire to play Oklahoma after this. He's gonna have that team fired up. He's gonna they're disrespecting us. You know, Brett Yormark, the Big 12 commissioners, would love to see Oak State and Kansas State get wins on Saturday. He would.
He does not want to see a Texas Oklahoma, even though ABC and ESPN want a Texas Oklahoma final. Brett Yormark, he wants Oklahoma State, Kansas State in that final.
Yep. He even said for the year he's like, Texas at a Texas Tech event. He was like, you guys gotta go hold the Big 12 flag this year. You guys gotta go take them down. So yeah, he's not so yeah, Yormark would love it. Last I saw in Bedlam, this should be a fun, high-scoring one like it always is. Down in Stillwater, they got the paddles. They're right on top of you. Ollie Gordon, the last month or so, since kind of taking over the starting running back spot, he's gone over 1,000 yards in his last 5 games. His last 2 weeks, he's gone over for at least 250. He's the first player to do that since the great Barry Sanders. Oklahoma, they can't tackle still in the open field. They can't stop the run. They give up explosive run plays. Ollie Gordon's going to expose that down in Stillwater. Oklahoma State secondary is not great. Like, Oklahoma's going to expose them with some deep passes down the field. But again, like, Drake Stoops is a nice guy, but he should not be your number one. I think Oklahoma State finds a way at home. Last Bedlam establishment. I think Oklahoma played the game of the year against Texas, and that's a game where Stark Texas should have won that football game. Like, Texas, couple bad possessions in the red zone. And the game management was not good. Like, Oklahoma played a game of the year. I thought maybe this team was a little bit, was better than last year. I still think they are a bit better, but I don't think they're at a level right now good enough. And I think, they almost lost. They should have kind of, SMU held in there with them. Cincinnati did UCF a couple weeks ago. So I'm not loving the Sooner team right now. I got the Cowboys in this one.
We got Penn State going to College Park to face Maryland. And this is a little bit of a trap game before Michigan. And I do think it's a close game for a half. I do. I think Maryland limits Penn State's big plays. I think Maryland, Tua's brother stays in it. But I think in the second half, Penn State starts to pull away. They force some turnovers from Tua's brother. Maryland has lost 3 in a row. 2 bad losses, to Illinois and Northwestern. So I think that Penn State will make the Michigan game matter. I got them winning this game 28-17. But Justin, will Maryland ruin Penn State's season on Saturday?
No, I got the Nittany Lions 20-17. Maryland was awful. Mike Loxley now as the head coach of Maryland. He's 6-21 in the month of October and November.
Wow, that shows you he doesn't make any adjustments.
No, not at all. And I get you're in the East Division, but you can't. Northwestern offensively has not moved the ball like they did last week against Maryland. And Tagovailoa did not play great. Made a couple of bad decisions. He only had 1 pick, but he likes to. He's not afraid to kind of try to squeeze the ball in there. And I think Penn State's defense is going to play well. Again, Indiana has not moved the ball a year, and they hit a couple of big plays, which I was surprised about. And because Indiana going in that game only averaged like less than 200 yards passing a game. And they, were able to make some big plays. I think that gets tightened up this week. And Maryland's not great running the football. I think Drew Allen's going to play really well in this one. And I think Penn State's going to be okay, and they should get out of College Park with the victory.
All right, well, we will wrap up talking about Virginia Tech and Louisville, kind of a battle for who's going to play Florida State in the ACC championship game. If Louisville wins, they'll definitely play Florida State in the ACC championship game. And I think Louisville wins it by 2 touchdowns. They're clearly the better team. I think Louisville wins this, and I think they're on a collision course to face Florida State in the championship game. But Justin, can Virginia Tech get into second place in the division in the ACC?
No, I don't see it. I got the Cards as well, 27-13. Brett Pry's done a nice job this year. It's just not a great team still. They're 4-4, but they made the QB switch to go to Kyron Drones, who's been a really good dual threat guy. They'll run a lot of kind of RPO stuff. It's really benefited the offense the last couple weeks. They've had a good balanced attack, but I think the Cardinals offensively are going to shut them down. I think Plummer plays well enough in this one. And, I don't think Louisville's a great team. They benefit off the schedule, as I mentioned. I don't think Virginia Tech's either. Like, they really haven't played anybody. Like, they got down early 22-0 to Florida State, and then Florida State kind of took their foot off the gas there for a while. So it's great, and I hope Brett Pry does a good job getting Virginia Tech back, because I love Enter Sandman and Lane Stadium, but they're still not there yet. It's kind of fluky. I feel like 3-1. They're getting better, but they're not. I think Louisville is still a better team than them.
All righty, that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J for Justin and Alfrio. I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking about Week 10 of the NFL season, Week 11 of the college football season, and we will be doing our UConn basketball preview as they start on Monday night against Northern Arizona. So have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello. Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meek, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.